Once upon a time in the sunny, sparkly lands of the African savanna, there lived a tiny lion cub named Lumo. Lumo was full of giggles and wiggles, with fur that shone like the morning sun, and eyes that twinkled with playful mischief. But do you know what made Lumo the happiest? His very own special roar. Now Lumo's roar wasn't as big and booming as his daddy lion's. Oh no! Daddy's roar was so loud that it made the whole savanna shiver and dance, like the tall trees were having a tickle fight. But Lumo didn't mind. His little roar was like a sweet, high-pitched song, and he loved it with all his heart. Every sunny morning, Lumo would scamper up on a big, comfy rock, puff out his tiny chest, and let out the loudest, proudest roar he could muster. Roar, he would say, and it would sound like the happiest little chirp in the whole wide world. And all the animals around would smile and cheer for Lumo, because every roar, no matter how small, is a roar worth celebrating. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the sprawling savanna, a landscape teeming with life. Lumo, the young lion, stood proudly atop his favorite rock, a majestic outpost from which he could survey his kingdom. The moment he let out his powerful roar, the world around him transformed. The birds took flight, startled into a flurry of wings. The zebras paused in their grazing, heads held high as if listening to a royal decree. And the monkeys erupted into joyous cheers from the treetops, their playful chatter echoing through the air. In those moments, Lumo felt invincible. His roar was his badge of honor, a symbol of his strength, bravery, and uniqueness. But one fateful morning, as the sun painted the horizon with hues of orange and pink, an unusual stillness enveloped the savanna. Lumo ascended his rock with the same excitement that had always accompanied him, ready to unleash his mighty roar. Yet when he opened his mouth, an eerie silence greeted him. No growl, no squeak, not even the faintest whisper escaped his lips. His roar had vanished into thin air. Initially, Lumo chuckled, brushing it off as a minor hiccup. Perhaps his throat was parched from the warm night air. He coughed, cleared his throat, and took a deep breath, his heart racing with anticipation. But once again, silence filled the space where his proud roar should have been. The monkeys, perched high in the trees, began to giggle, their mischievous voices taunting him. "Where's your mighty roar, little lion?" they teased, their laughter ringing like chimes in the wind. Confusion danced in Lumo's eyes as he scanned the savanna, searching for answers. How could a lion be without his roar? Was he still strong? Was he still brave? The teasing from the monkeys echoed in his ears, and for the first time, doubt crept into his heart. But deep within, a spark of determination ignited. This would not be the end of his story. With a heart full of courage, Lumo decided to embark on a journey, not just to find his roar, but to discover what it truly meant to be a lion. The savanna had always listened to him, and now it was time for him to listen back. Lumo's ears drooped low, casting a shadow of despair over his small, furry face. His heart felt heavy as he dashed back to his mother, his little paws kicking up clouds of dust in a flurry of worry. "Mama, Mama!" he cried out, his voice tinged with panic. "My roar is gone! It's gone!" His mother, a gentle lioness with a golden mane that shimmered like sunlight, nuzzled him softly. Her warm breath brushed against his cheek, a soothing balm for his troubled spirit. "Don't worry, my son," she said, her voice a comforting melody. "A roar doesn't just disappear. Perhaps it's hiding, waiting for you to seek it out once more." But despite her reassuring words, Lumo's heart raced with fear. What if his roar never returned? What if he was no longer special? Just another ordinary creature in the vast savannah. Determined to reclaim his lost voice, Lumo resolved to embark on a grand adventure, a quest to find his roar. With newfound courage he ventured forth, traversing the tall grasses that swayed rhythmically in the wind, resembling waves in an endless sea of green. The sun sparkled off the crystal-clear streams he crossed, each step a testament to his resolve. He climbed rugged rocks that towered above him, their surfaces rough and unyielding, and sought refuge in the cool shade of majestic baobab trees, their gnarled branches stretching wide like welcoming arms. Everywhere he roamed, he called out to the creatures of the savannah, his voice echoing with hope. "Have you seen my roar?" he pleaded, searching their eyes for a glimmer of recognition. The first wise soul he encountered was Tico the turtle, slow and thoughtful, a sage of the wild. With a gentle nod, Lumo approached, his heart pounding with anticipation. "Excuse me, Tico," he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "Have you seen my roar?" Tico looked up from his leisurely sunbathing, his ancient eyes twinkling with wisdom. "Ah, dear Lumo," he began, "the roar you seek is not just a sound. It's a part of who you are. It may be hidden, but it lives within you. You must look deep inside and let your journey reveal it." With those words lingering in his mind, Lumo felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps the path to rediscovering his roar was just beginning. And so he continued onward, each step a blend of adventure and self-discovery, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The old turtle chuckled softly, a sound like the gentle lapping of waves against the shore. "A roar is not something you can see, little one. Perhaps you are looking in the wrong place. Sometimes the things we lose are not out there, but in here." He tapped his shell gently, the rhythm of his gesture echoing the wisdom of ages, as if to say that the answers lie within the heart, not in the vast savannah beyond. Lumo tilted his head, confusion dancing in his eyes like sunlight flickering through leaves. How could his roar be hiding inside him? It seemed impossible, yet there was a flicker of hope igniting in his chest. "Thank you, wise turtle," he said, a hint of determination creeping into his voice as he continued on his journey. As he approached the watering hole, shimmering under the golden sun, he spotted Zara the zebra, her stripes glistening like a work of art. "Zara!" Lumo called, his voice carrying a mix of desperation and curiosity. "I've lost my roar. What should I do?" Zara looked at him with kind eyes, her smile as warm as the midday sun. "Ah, dear Lumo," she replied, her voice soothing like a gentle breeze. "Sometimes when we lose something precious, the best thing we can do is wait. Be patient, little lion. Instead of roaring, try singing. Your roar may return when you least expect it, like a surprise gift from the universe." With a heart full of hope, Lumo took a deep breath and began to sing. At first, his voice was shaky, a timid little whisper that seemed almost silly in the vastness of the savannah. But as he continued, something magical began to happen. The birds, curious and intrigued, started to chirp along, their melodies intertwining with his. The breeze joined the symphony, swirling around him, dancing in rhythm with his tune. Before long, the savannah transformed into a canvas of sound, vibrant and alive. Lumo, lost in the moment, forgot about his missing roar. He discovered that his voice, soft and gentle, held its own kind of beauty, a melody that resonated with the heart of the world around him. Yet, as the echoes of his song faded into the horizon, a small part of him still longed for the power of his roar, that deep resonant call that once made the earth tremble. And so he continued to sing, embracing the journey of self-discovery, knowing that perhaps, just perhaps, his roar would find its way back to him when he least expected it. As the sun lowered in the sky, Lumo met the elephant elder, the wisest of all creatures. The elder's tusks shone white, and his footsteps shook the earth. "Great elephant," Lumo said humbly, "I've lost my roar. Please, tell me where to find it." The elder's deep eyes looked down at him. "Little one, a roar does not come only from your throat. A roar comes from here." He raised his trunk and touched his heart. "When you find your courage, your roar will find you." That night, under the blanket of glittering stars, Lumo lay on the grass. His chest rose and fell with worry. "What if I never roar again?" he whispered sadly. He felt so small, so weak. And then he heard it, a cry in the distance, a cry of fear. Lumo's ears perked up. He listened closely. It was the voice of a baby antelope, trapped in the thorny bushes, while a hyena circled closer and closer. Lumo's heart pounded. He was afraid. How could he scare away a hyena without his roar? But then he remembered the elephant's words. A roar comes from courage. He took a deep breath. He climbed onto a rock. He opened his mouth. At first, nothing, just silence. But then, deep inside him, from his chest, from his heart, came a sound. The sound was louder than he had ever made before. It rolled across the plains like thunder. It shook the air. The hyena yelped in terror and fled into the shadows. The antelope was safe. Lumo stood frozen, wide-eyed. His roar had come back, but it was stronger, deeper, and braver than before. He realized then his roar had never been gone. It was inside him, waiting for him to be brave enough to use it. When he returned home, his mother welcomed him with proud eyes. "See, my son, you did not just find your roar, you found your courage." From that day on, Lumo no longer roared to show off. He no longer roared to scare the birds or impress the monkeys. He roared to protect, to lead, and to remind himself that courage is the true voice of the heart. And so, the little lion who once lost his roar grew into a mighty lion, respected across the savannah. His roar echoed through the land, not just as a sound, but as a song of bravery, kindness, and wisdom. The savannah would never forget the day a little lion discovered that true strength comes not from loudness, but from courage.